With the release of Sony's new PlayStation Vita comes some of the company's established franchises along for the ride. In tow is ModNation Racers Road Trip, a semi-sequel to the PS3 and PSP custom kart racer originals. But it seems to have forgotten many of its original features in the trip to the Vita. Even though it's obviously a kart racer, the main draw of the ModNation series is its create and share aspect. Thankfully, the creation tools are largely intact from the original. You can still create goofy characters, cars and tracks to your heart's content, with a seemingly endless supply of facial features, skins and stickers that may seem hidden at first but can be unlocked as you achieve missions in the main career mode. More on that in a bit. Annoyingly, the majority of the menus use the touchscreen, which would be fine if it weren't for the fact that the tabs are far too small, and more often than not they seem unresponsive, resulting in more repeated taps than necessary. The track building, however, has had a significant overhaul. As well as having more options between what backdrop theme you want, you can now simply draw your track as you please, and then having the option to either manually place obstacles, raise terrain and tweak the scenery, or just let the game auto-populate it for you, which is great having the option. It works well both ways, and if you have the time to intricately design your perfect track, or you just want one done in 5 minutes. If you're feeling even lazier than that, then you can just download the many user-created tracks from the main menu, which include all the PS3 downloads too. Even with these great features, Road Trip, for some bizarre reason, has been completely stripped of its thriving community, the mod spot. Whereas before you could drive around a hub location, bump into other drivers, exchanging creations and earn experience points, now all that remains is a menu where you can upload and download said creations. But without a proper community of real people, you feel isolated and separated from what kept you coming back to the original. The career mode has also had its cutbacks, doing away with any form of story from the original. It's just a selection of tracks within the allotted cups. And I can't believe it, but I even missed the banter between the commentators, who are also strangely absent. Obviously, this being a racing game, the racing has to be good, and I'm pleased to say it is. The formula has been largely untouched since the PS3, and this is a good thing. Anyone familiar with this series would be able to jump straight in with the controls mapped near perfectly to the Vita's interface. The steering and drifting feel tight and responsive, and it all runs at a satisfyingly smooth pace. Drifting and getting airtime still fills your thermometer style meter, using it to either boost or activate a shield to protect yourself from enemy attacks, which on top of the great controls add a nice sense of strategy unseen in most kart races. The weapons themselves are mostly generic, but with new additional power-ups to the series arsenal, they add some much needed variety. The majority of the races, as a result, feel nicely balanced, but there are still occasional moments of unfair rubber banding AI. The career tracks themselves are much more varied and interesting than the PS3, but they still have a cookie cutter feel overall, and as a result just don't feel as refined or indeed as memorable as other karting games. You can expand the fray with local multiplayer, but only allowing up to 4 players and a complete lack of competitive online. It's just more evidence that Road Trip feels rushed, so it can be part of the Vita's launch lineup. As deep of a creation aspect that ModNation Racers Road Trip has, it's ironic then that it lacks any character or charm, and suffers from an identity crisis. While some of its features have optional simplified mechanics, perfect for a handheld, it has cumbersome and confusing menus that are topped off with horrendous load times, making it far from ideal for on the go. Look past these setbacks and you have a fun, tight racer with deep creation tools, but that's pretty much all you're going to get.